Tight condo rental market. Not so much. No, man, it's loose. Looser than a college student on 5 wine coolers. Hi, I'm Steve Mitchell, Realtor with Johnson and Daniel Royal LePage here in lovely Toronto. It's sunny today, and I'm here to talk to you about our very soft rental market in condos. Rents are down about 20%. Listings up 100 and something percent. This is a renter's market. What do you as a landlord do with your investor condo? Trying to get tenants? Do you need to lower your standards? Hell no! I'm here to talk to you about how to get great tenants and keep them. So let's get started. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up or hit that subscribe button and the bell, and you'll see new videos that are applicable whether or not you're in the Toronto market or somewhere else. Now let's get to it.
Okay, let's look at the backdrop of what's going on first. The bottom line is this current market is very soft. Okay, rents last year were down 20% in Toronto, so you need to stand out more than ever. Your condo is going to be lost in a sea of similar condos if you don't market it properly. The next thing is more condos are coming. You know, the cranes and the cement trucks didn't stop when the virus hit, so there's going to be more coming, more renters to sop it up. We'll see, maybe not. Showing restrictions. You know, I've had 2 buildings just cancel showings. Is that coming to your building? Worth checking out ahead of time, because that can be a real showstopper and not in a good way. Let's look at a few common landlord mistakes. So just generally, the very first one is having fixed ideas about who you don't want to rent to. I mean, not only can this run you afoul of human rights legislation, but it also is bad business, because it's really hard to predict who's going to be a good tenant just based on broad groupings of people. You really want to get to the basics, you know, the 4 C's of credit: character, capacity, collateral, capital. I'll get into those more. And that's your best way, along with just a general feeling for the tenant, whether or not they're going to work out. The next one is, I can't accept anybody who's less than perfect. You know, like, I mean, who's perfect? I'm not. So a little bit of blemish on a otherwise solid application doesn't mean you should throw the person out. You know, just maybe you can find out more about why there's a problem there or what happened there. But generally, you just look at the big picture. All tenants do come with some risks. You could have somebody who looks perfect, and then all of a sudden they lose their job, and then they're asking you for rent reduction. Anything can happen. The next one is, I better accept this tenant. This is going all the way the other way. You know, I can't afford to be vacant. Oh, my maintenance is hitting me every month, and I got a mortgage to pay. And no, you can't afford a problem tenant. Don't go there. And the last one is,
don't worry about that, laddie. We'll write a lease so tough they won't dare violate it.
Having the idea that, you know, if you write a really tough lease filled with all kinds of, you know, we're going to take your firstborn type clauses, that'll protect me and they won't dare violate it. The reality is that you can contract outside Ontario rental law all you want. It's unenforceable. If the tenant doesn't want to pay those small repair fees that they agreed to by signing, they don't have to. The law does favor tenants, so you have to be very careful. And why waste everybody's time with a bunch of unenforceable garbage? It just gets into big arguments. So don't think you can do that, and that'll protect you. As far as agents go, you know, and you can tell this from the poor quality of a lot of listing photos, is my agent says phone shots of the interior are good enough. So, you know, the lazy agent who doesn't want to really do the lease, they want to get on to selling the $2 million home, they'll run in there, snap a few things on their phone, you know, leave the toilet seat up, make the place just kind of look, you know, not show it in its best light. You know, I definitely deliver more than that. I go in with my DSLR with a 10 millimeter lens and a flash, all Nikon equipment, and I do my very best to give you something approaching decent photography. The economics are not such that, you know, I can offer pro photography, you know, $500-$600. It's like probably the whole commission for leasing the place out. So I can't do that. If you're willing to pay for that as a landlord to get professional photography, then great. But I can approximate it. The next thing is we all signed the agreement to lease. That's the lease. No, big mistake. you want to get an Ontario standard lease signed, otherwise known as residential tenancy agreement. This was brought in a few years ago. It's the only lease form that is legal in the province. And it does give you protection. If you don't get that done, tenant can basically just walk. I won't get into the details here on that, but you want it, trust me. And then the other one is, my agent says the tenant's good. Well, did they do the due diligence? Did they call the employer? Did they call the prior landlord? Did they run a credit check on the person? Are they only relying on everything coming from the agent representing the tenant? That would be like allowing the prosecution to represent you as your defense lawyer. That doesn't make any sense. Make sure your agent is doing their work. And another one is...
Shit, a whole month's rent for commission? That's some highway robbery right there.
Believe me, this is the best deal in real estate. I mean, the amount of hours that go into leasing is considerable. So your agent's giving you great value, trust me, based on the time they put in. And hopefully they're doing the other things that mean the service they're giving you is quality service too. But this is not too much commission, trust me. So let's get to the 4 C's of credit. They're important, but first you want good documentation. You want a completed Ontario Real Estate Association rental form. That means all employment record, tenancy record, their driver's license, all that kind of good stuff. You want a full Equifax report, a full credit report run by your agent or you. That's what I would recommend. Sometimes a good agent representing the tenant will run it, and that's fine. If it's a full Equifax report, great. You can verify a lot of that. But it's better for you to do it. And don't accept these quickie phone shots of like, oh, your credit is like, orange, or you've got green credit. Or no, you want details. And you have to have an agent or yourself know how to read those reports. And then you want to do a proper offer on an Ontario Real Estate Association agreement to lease form. This is Form 400. And then evaluate the tenant holistically. And again, be careful of human rights.
Okay, just a mid-video reminder to hit the thumbs up button if you're digging this content, and to also click subscribe so you'll get every new video I post, and the bell button so you'll get notified when it does happen. Okay, let's get back to it.
So let's get into the 4 C's. Credit is the first one. Ideally, and again, no hard and fast rules here, but I would really recommend you look for a credit score over 700. Second thing is, ideally, they've used up under 50% of all the credit they're awarded. You'll see that on the Equifax report. That means there's some dry powder. If they happen to lose their job and they have a month where there's no income, they might be able to borrow to pay the rent. So that's always a good thing. If they're, maxed out on credit, they might have nowhere to go. And then all the items in the credit report I would recommend they have a 1 rating, which is the top rating. R1 for revolving credit, like credit cards. Are they making their credit cards? C1 for other loans. Everything must be at a 1. And then tally up the minimum payments that they have to make each month on their car or on their student loan or whatever, and subtract it from gross income. Character. In credit terms, this means key track records. Not, is the person nice? Is the person disagreeable? Is the person, character in the 4 C's means key track records. What's their employment record? Their resume, plus their judged prospects. If somebody's, to use a tired old phrase, a buggy whip analyst, if they're in an industry that's vulnerable, could be an issue. But again, look at the whole picture. But look at their employment record. Is it solid? Tenancy record. Not only landlord references, but what were they paying last? So if somebody's suddenly, trying to move up a lot in rent, you've got to ask yourself, did they get a raise? Have they started a new job where they're getting paid a lot more? What's happening to justify that? And now let's look at capacity, ability to pay. So ideally, and again, this is not written in stone, but I would recommend that 40% is the maximum that should be going toward your rent of their gross pay, less other payments. So if dude makes $10,000 a month and your apartment is $2,500, you're probably going to be safe unless they have massive other debts. So just, look at that. Job stability. Are they on salary versus commission? Now, this is not always as you'd think. Somebody on salary can go from earning $100,000 a year to earning zero if they get laid off or fired. Whereas a commission person, maybe they have a slow month or so, maybe we get, a gut punch recession and nobody's buying cars, but, in a couple months they're going to start moving the iron again, and they've shown that their earnings track record is solid. So being on commission, and I'm not just floating my own boat here because of, I'm a realtor and I'm on commission, but just generally speaking, I mean, you can't draw any hard lines there. TFSA is another savings, and the bank of mom and dad can be considered. With students, they don't have any income, so you're really doing the 4 C's on the parents, and can they fund the rent? Students are not necessarily an unsafe bet at all. In fact, they can be among the safer bets. And then the other thing is collateral. What do you have? The law only allows last month rent as a deposit, except if you're offering a furnished suite, then you can charge a deposit for the furniture, but not for, you can't just say, I've got to have damage deposits, just general damage deposits. No, it's only last month rent and the keys. So that's why you want to be prepaid rent. You got to be careful. I mean, some people who are new to the country or whatever, landlords say, I want prepaid rent, but you have to be careful about that. So here's the fundamental truth about leasing in general, but also getting great tenants, and that is that nobody cares who they sell to. Everyone cares who they rent to. So provided you've done your homework, you're going to have a good relationship, which brings me to my next snappy slogan. Renting equals relationships. It fits on a bumper sticker better than the prior slide, and I can kind of claim ownership to this. But kidding aside, it's the truth. It's not buy and goodbye. You're together in the same boat. Landlord and tenant, do the best you can to make sure you're getting into that boat with the right person based on what I've covered, and you'll have a happy relationship, and it'll be smooth sailing. And that's where I'll end the nautical metaphors. But what if that sailing suddenly goes not so smooth? Well, if you've got a good tenant who's struggling, just consider a rent deferral or a temporary discount. That's where it keeps the lawful rent the same, protects your future increases for that tenant. So, avoid eviction proceedings like the plague. I mean, they are no fun. They're stressful. They take a long time. They're expensive. Just work something out. If they're truly acting in good faith, and this is a reasonable person who's going to meet you halfway. Just do what you can. Fix it fast. You want to keep them. And the dishwasher breaks, don't say, oh yeah, I'll get to it next Tuesday and I'm really busy and I'm traveling or whatever. You got to be, if you're in the landlord business, you got to be able to respond to this stuff. Fast repairs done right will build loyalty. You're somebody they can count on. That's good. The last thing is, hey, why not get ahead of the repairs? If you've got a washer dryer 17 years old sitting there, it's not a matter of will it bust. It's when is it going to bust? And so it's not a waste just to preemptively do some upgrades. Get those out and get them to the junkyard and get some nice new shiny units in there. Maybe do it toward the back end of the lease when your tenant might be considering leaving. Surprise them, might keep them. All of this is to say that, keeping great tenants hinges on you making them feel like they are home. This is their home. Make them feel attached to it. And then, the attractions of the marketplace and going to some other unit to save $5, that's not going to be a threat to you. You're going to keep those rent checks coming, keep your income and revenue flow going, and they're going to be happy. You're going to be happy. Happily ever after.
Well, thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and the content of getting great tenants. I hope it gives you an edge in the marketplace. I'm Steve Mitchell. Hit me up anytime with your questions. Make comments below if you wish. Just not comments like real estate's a ripoff and you're a dumbass and please. But just love to hear your thoughts. And if I can help you out in any way, you know how to reach me. Until next time, take care.